right now.
Hopefully we have a lot of people to join us. We need to join together and pray, especially as to what's going on here in this country.
Coming up right now at 9, the community coming together to remember the 53 people who lost their lives in the worst human smuggling tragedy in United States history. Plus, 2 people stabbed on the west side last night. What we know about their injuries and the person police say they have in custody.
And good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a good cup of coffee this morning. Maybe it's iced because it is going to be a hot one today. We're going to feel like we're in the triple digits. But what about rain chances? I'll have the latest coming up.
All right, folks.
Good morning. I love that, Devin, the drum roll this morning.
You can take the drummer out of the drum kit. Can't take the drum kit out of the drummer.
Here's a little behind the scenes about Devin. He's used to be a drummer.
Yeah, still am. I still have an electric kit, by the way. I'm very nice to my apartment neighbors with that. I want to make that clear. But
and he can beatbox, y'all. Maybe a little bit later he'll show off his skills.
We'll see. Only if you do your bird whistle.
Oh, no. I can do a bird whistle, too.
Ultimatum. We got each other.
These are the weird, odd talents that we have.
We got a lot of time in commercial breaks, folks.
Nobody asked for us to share. All right. Hey, the pollen count this weekend looks pretty good. The only allergen we've got out there is molds, and molds are low. They were high the last couple of days, so it's good news to see those coming down. Temperatures, though, not coming down. It's 94. It'll be 94 today, feeling like 101. And tomorrow there's a small chance for a pop-up downpour in the afternoon, but again, mainly just a hot day and hazy. Saharan dust will be on the horizon tomorrow, too. So we've got a lot to talk about in the forecast. I'll detail that Saharan dust. We'll talk about the potential for some more rain in the week ahead and a look ahead to your July 4th holiday as well. A lot to unpack in the forecast in just a few minutes. Devin.
All right, thank you, Sarah. This morning we have the community coming together to honor the lives of 53 people who died in what's been described as the worst U.S. smuggling tragedy in the United States history. Now, this is over here with a memorial over on Quintana Road after they were found in a semi-trailer off of a San Antonio road. Now, yesterday, a judge coming down hard on 2 of the men involved on the Quintana Road smuggling operation that happened 3 years ago today. On June 27th, 2022, authorities found 67 migrants inside of a sweltering semi-truck. 53 people lost their lives, one of them a pregnant woman. In court yesterday, Armando Gonzalez Ortega, a coordinator in the human smuggling ring, was sentenced to just over 87 years in prison. Felipe Orduna Torres, one of the leaders of the organizations, sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences. More individuals involved have since taken plea details. We do know that the driver of the tractor trailer will be sentenced in December. He's also facing up to life in prison. Now, they are currently creating a way to remember those victims, 53 of them, and an unborn baby. It's been a priority of San Antonio Southwest Side community. A memorial created in the aftermath of the tragedy has endured theft and vandalism, and this morning it's going to be the center of a vigil. I know there are a lot of people in the community that have been going out throughout this, putting in their own time and effort to make sure that some of the work out there has been fulfilled. Hanging those crosses, putting out fresh flowers for all of the people right there as community members organize a vigil to remember the victims for 3 years yesterday. Now, they've started over this morning at 8 a.m. with a walk over from a local community church, heading over to the Quintana Road Memorial that is set over there. Now, people are encouraged to come to the site around 9:30 so the vigil that they're hosting today can start at around 10. One of the people who takes care of the memorial says this morning is a chance to remember and come together as a community.
Sad. It's what happened with the situation here when they come over here for a better life.
Well, posts on social media say today's memorial should last through about 1 o'clock this afternoon. New this morning, one person is in the hospital and another is in custody after a stabbing over on the west side. It happened just before 11 o'clock last night over on South Zarzamora Street. Police say they were initially called out to a burglary in process and found a woman with a cut to her stomach. The man accused of injuring her was inside an apartment and was taken into custody. He did have some cuts to his face, but they are non-threatening and was checked out by medical personnel over on the scene. And a man was shot in their home around 2 a.m. this morning on the city's north side. Police say he was playing video games when he heard gunfire and felt himself get shot. They also tell us that the suspect drove off and has not yet been taken into custody. Thankfully, the man who was shot, not seriously injured, but was treated by EMS. We're going to update you on this story as we learn more. And police are still left with many questions after a man was found severely injured, leaving behind a trail of blood at a fast food restaurant. This all happened over at a McDonald's on Loop 410 in Vance Jackson. San Antonio police believe that man was either shot or stabbed before he got to the restaurant. He was rushed to the hospital with critical injuries. And as of right now, police have not identified any suspects. Well, it's a troubling trend that seems to only be getting worse. For the second time this week, a female inmate from the Bexar County Jail has died. 27-year-old Adriana Lastra died Thursday, 3 days after a jailer stopped her suicide attempt over at the jail's annex. The jailer, facility medical staff, and firefighters treated her. She was then taken to a hospital where she later died. But a second female inmate, Joanna Guinez, died Wednesday. Sheriff's officials said that she had been experiencing withdrawal issues. Records compiled by KSAT Investigates show 7 Bexar County Jail inmates have died so far this year. Time coming up right now, 9:06, 79 degrees here on your Saturday morning. You may have heard the phrase, anyone can cook. Well, hey, anyone can garden too. How one group is helping ensure that anyone who wants to have a green thumb has the right place to do it. Plus, 2 decades after tragedy silenced one of San Antonio's most iconic music venues. Well, that sound is back. How a 2-day festival is keeping Taco Land's legacy alive here in town. Plus, when you're on the roadways, there's several closures happening this weekend. What you need to know if you're planning to get out and about in San Antonio right now on GMSA. Plus, taking a look outside in San Antonio. That sun is coming through. Might be peeking through depending on the cloud coverage you've got in the area. Coming up next, Sarah is going to be sharing the forecast and what it means for you, not to mention some Saharan dust that could be making its way through town. Well, San Antonio officials have announced street closures for 2 parades happening this weekend. Coming up now, we are going to have the Charlie Watkins Veterans Parade that started at 8 a.m. over on Cameron Street, marching from 10 to 1 along Houston to Broadway. Plus, there's also the Pride Bigger Than Texas Parade starting later over at 3 p.m. at San Antonio College, with the march happening from 9 p.m. to midnight, going through downtown for all the night owls out there. For more details, you can head to KSAT.com for more. All right, time right now. We are coming up at 9:11 here on your Saturday morning. 79 degrees outside in San Antonio. Plus, after the break, a garden for all. How one backyard project is hoping to expand. Plus, are you looking for the perfect companion to spend some time cooling off indoors with this summer? If you are, you're going to want to hear all about this event coming up after this. All right, welcome back. It's an age-old question that's plagued the minds of many. Are you a dog person or a cat person? Now, whatever you end up choosing, just remember there are a lot of furry friends in our area waiting to be adopted. And if you're a cat fan, kind of like me, then now might be a good time to find yours. The Humane Society has stopped by our station to talk to us about an event they have for adoption. Check it out.
We're welcomed back and we're joined by the Humane Society of San Antonio, and we have a little kitty friend.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. We do. We have a cute little kitten here. Its name is Kevin. Kevin is a 2-month-old little kitty mix. Was found as a stray and came in to see us. So somebody rescued him and brought him in, and I mean, just has brothers too at the shelter. So really sweet cat. I mean, as you can tell, she kind of likes to curl up in a little blanket.
I was going to say the last few minutes he's just been sitting over here, kind of just let everyone just pet him the last little bit. Such a cutie. He's kind of calm too.
Yeah, he is. He's actually kind of calm. Definitely likes to be held. Likes to just kind of play around. So having some cute some cat toys at home, maybe some cat treats, things like that. Keep them entertained. Scratching posts. Always remember those are good for cats too. So anything like that. And we have a lot of that at our shelter too.
Okay, perfect. Do you guys have a lot of cats currently? Or?
We do. We do have a lot of cats and kittens. So come on, see us. We've got a wonderful adoption event coming up too. So it's Sosie and Sasha's Star Spangled Spectacular. And that's taking place June 27th. So next Friday through next Sunday, all cat and kitten fees will be waived, courtesy of a wonderful donor. So starting next Friday, not today, next Friday. Perfect. I love it.
Is there anything else you want to talk about for the Star Spangled Spectacular, about any of the cats?
Yeah, just come on out and see us. You can go online. The best thing to do is go online and fill out an adoption application. So then when you come in, if you've already have one identified, you can go meet that one and then come in and adopt it.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
Such a cutie. I might just spend the rest of the day just petting him.
It's just very calm.
Very.
I know.
Okay, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Four-Legged Friends coming up after the break.
No break right now. We're here doing the weather, so don't go anywhere. But the thing is, I love that cat's name is Kevin.
Yeah.
My favorite thing in the world is when cats and dogs have like very human names.
Like Frank, right?
Right. I met a pug once whose name was Greg.
Ooh,
that one tops the cake.
Solid.
For me.
That's a good name.
I named my cat Nora, so that's a pretty
I kind of like
human
weird
name.
names for cats, like little bit of a quick story time. When I was in college in San Antonio, I found my cat and two others just living in a shed, so I fostered them for a while.
Okay.
And I named the other two Cloud and Dirt because I thought Dirt would just be a really funny name for a cat.
Dirt is a fun name for a cat. I'm partial to Cloud, but weather.
All
right, so here's the thing. It is going to be a humid day. Relative humidity right now standing at 80%. Now, usually these relative humidity numbers come down a little bit during the day, but it just goes to show you step outside, the first thing you feel is that wall of humidity. And this is going to really play into our heat index values later today, what it feels like. It's going to feel a lot hotter than what the thermometer actually reads. It is 80 degrees though now in Converse. Good morning to the Seguin area where it's 80. 80 in Rio Medina, 79 in Uvalde, 77 in Kerrville. You know it's going to be a hot day when you're starting off near 80 degrees. And that's exactly the case for us. We're going to be looking at temperatures in the mid-80s by noon around the lunch hour, mostly sunny too. And we're going to be looking at a high temperature of 94. There's a small 10% chance for a stray shower, but I really want you to focus on the fact that it's going to be a humid and hot day. That 94 is going to feel more like 100 degrees. It'll feel like 100 in New Braunfels, 100 in Gonzales, 101 in Eagle Pass. Little quick science for you. Why does the humidity make it feel hotter? Well, we perceive it as hotter because our sweat can't evaporate as easily and cool us down when it's really humid outside. So that's why we like to talk about the feel like temperatures or the heat index, because you won't be able to cool down quite as easily. So make sure to stay hydrated today. Again, this is the time of year where I'm meteorologist mom and I give you a lot of advice just for staying cool. Rain chances tomorrow. We do have slightly higher chances tomorrow in the afternoon, 20% chance that one or two showers or storms could make a run for the I-35 corridor from the coast. This is a look at the futurecast tomorrow, right at around noon. You can see a few showers and storms will be developing off of the sea breeze, and they have a 20% shot at making it to your backyard during the afternoon tomorrow. Again, only a 20% chance, and then once we see sunset, our rain chances go away for the day. But the next big thing I want to talk about is the Saharan dust. We are really going to be seeing our first noticeable plume of Saharan dust this week. And this happens every year. If you're new to San Antonio, this is not a new phenomenon for us. In fact, all that Saharan dust from the desert in Africa goes up into the air, and it's picked up by the trade winds way high up into the air, and it travels across the Atlantic into the Gulf and eventually into Texas. And that's going to be the case this week. We're going to see from tomorrow through about Wednesday at least a light to moderate plume of Saharan dust. Now, this is not going to be like the kind of sand or dust storms you see in the movies, or even like some of the dust we get in from West Texas, because this is very fine dust that resides about a mile aloft into the air. So the dust starts about a mile above the surface. with that in mind, only a few of those particles every now and then come down into the air that we breathe. And so we're really only going to see a mild dip in air quality. The biggest thing you'll notice is a haze on the horizon, and that haze will create colorful sunrises and sunsets for us. Air quality will be okay. Now we'll only see a small dip from good to moderate tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday. So unless you're very sensitive to the dust, most of us, the biggest thing we'll notice is the haze on the horizon. Otherwise, we've got a good chance for some rain Wednesday and Thursday because of the tropics. We'll talk more about that coming up in a little bit in the next half hour. And of course, I'll have a more in-depth look at your 4th of July forecast, Devin.
Ooh, good to know. So interesting sunrises, sunsets?
Yeah, like a little bit more orange than what we usually see.
Peppered in. Nice.
Yeah, I love
Awesome.
that.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Time right now, 9:21 here, 79 degrees outside in San Antonio. Well, the Rock at La Cantera is getting some music on, ready for summer with a series of concerts with one happening today. What the rest of that lineup looks like coming up after the break. Welcome back. All right, take a look at this over here. Raised garden beds, wide paths, and vegetables just within arm's reach. But it isn't just like any garden. It's accessible garden for people with disabilities and veterans. The group Gardening for Everybody was recently created here in San Antonio, and they've got a simple mission: create spaces where people with all abilities can belong. And after weeks of classes and hours of building, they've now finished their first accessible garden. So what does that accessible garden actually mean? Well, there's a lot of extra shade, some extra room to move, and raised gardening beds. As one co-creator says, what started as a project between two friends has quickly grown into something more.
As people with disabilities, all the bending and kneeling involved in traditional gardening can sometimes take the joy out of something that's meant to be so joyous.
So just a little bit of progress isn't enough for them. Now they're looking to build their next garden. They're collecting donations and talking to nonprofits to help keep the effort moving in San Antonio. Time right now, 9:25 in San Antonio, 79 degrees outside here in town. We've got some more GMSA coming up after the break. Stay with us for the morning. We'll get you covered for the weekend here on KSAT News. Welcome back to GMSA. Coming up here to almost 9:30 on your Saturday morning. Still
Good
doing pretty
morning,
good.
everyone.
Good morning.
It's fun having Devin here on the desk with us.
Happy
this
to be with
morning,
you guys.
As Sarah is enjoying a little bit of vacation. And let's start with some good news. How does that sound?
Hey, I love it when we can, right?
Awesome. Yeah, so molds were really high the last couple of days, but now they're low. So that is some good news. We're seeing the molds come down. As we take a look at the weekend forecast, though, know that this weekend is going to be hot and humid. 94 today, but feeling like 100, 101. 93 tomorrow, so just about as hot tomorrow, but there is the potential for a few pop-up showers or storms in the afternoon. Nothing to be worried about as far as severe weather goes, but again, we could have an easy and quick downpour in the afternoon hours. Hazy skies as we see Saharan dust work its way in. That's usual for this time of year. We'll talk more about the Saharan dust in a bit, but what I want to talk about right now is that it could be worse. The heat could be worse. Last year, we were sitting at 99, 100 degrees just about every single day, and we had humidity, high humidity at that time as well. We've got high humidity, but we've also got temperatures that are lower. Now, it's still going to be hot, no doubt, but at least we're not going to be some 5 to 10 degrees hotter like we were this time last year. What about 4th of July? You can see it'll be 94 on 4th of July, but what about your rain chances? I'll have a look at that and a check of the tropics coming up in a bit. Devin.
Well, thank you, Sarah. The community is creating a way to remember the 53 victims in an unborn baby. That has been a priority of San Antonio's southwest side. A memorial created in the aftermath of the tragedy has endured theft and vandalism, and this morning, it's now the center of a vigil. We've got our very own photojournalist, Alexis Montalvo, who is out there taking a look at this. So they started a walk from the St. Joseph's Church over there on the southwest side. Now they've moved over towards the memorial. So she's on Quintana Road right over there. There is a line of people just up further ahead, and there's the line of cars as they have been making their way towards the area. So they're expected to get there pretty shortly, with the vigil starting over at 10 a.m. this morning as those community members organize the vigil, making sure that they are putting up fresh flowers, painted crosses to remember the victims of the Quintana Road tragedy. The 53 crosses right there have been standing for 3 years now. And this week, community members freshly painted the crosses and laid new flowers to honor the people who lost their lives in what's considered the deadliest human smuggling case in U.S. history. Right now, those neighbors making their walk over there to the memorial. Others are encouraged to come to the site around now so the vigil can kick off at 10 a.m. this morning. One of the people who takes care of the memorial says this morning is a chance to remember and come together as San Antonio.
It's just so sentimental, you know, trying to pray for these souls here.
Some social media posts say that today's memorial should last through about 1 o'clock this afternoon. There was one last look at the line of people making their way over there to Memorial. You can see the long line of cars, the people that are walking in front of there. We are going to have coverage on this here on GMSA and more, with a full story coming up tonight for the news at 5. So stay with us for this, and that story will be up on KSAT.com shortly. Well, it was a story that happened earlier this week, and we've now learned more about a standoff that involved 3 suspected car burglaries. Now, Adrian Hernandez and Oscar Carvajal, both 19 and 18 years old, along with this suspect, Lincoln Mertens, were arrested on a laundry list of charges. They were caught trying to steal a car over on the west side on Thursday, and were also responsible for a car break-in earlier that morning. They were then confronted by the owner of the vehicle, but the 3 pulled out weapons and took off. The 3 suspects were chased by police all the way to a home over on Westland Drive. That led to a standoff with the SWAT team. Eventually, police were able to arrest Hernandez and Carvajal, who were inside of the home. Mertens was arrested after a second short car chase. The 3 now face several charges, including aggravated robbery, vehicle burglary, evading arrest, unlawfully carrying a weapon, and tampering with evidence. A Guadalupe County man has been arrested after an aggravated assault call on Thursday. GCSO investigators received information about an assault with a deadly weapon and obtained an arrest warrant for 20-year-old Jorge Segura. During a search, they found evidence of the assault along with 4 pistols and 1 assault pistol. They also found over 600 grams of illegal drugs and proof of distribution. Segura has been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and possession with intent to distribute. A trial date has been set for a former San Antonio police officer accused of shooting a teenager inside of a car at a McDonald's parking lot. James Brennan is set to stand trial on October 17th. That's also when the jury selection is scheduled as well. Now, you might remember we've already reported this trial has been delayed once because of issues with evidence. Brennan was fired after the incident and faces life in prison if found guilty of the shooting. Plus, a man has been arrested after leaving the state and refusing to show up in court for an aggravated robbery charge. Back in 2023, William Best was one of the people involved in a violent home invasion. And on May 8th, he removed his GPS ankle monitor while out on bond and told his attorney he wouldn't appear in court. U.S. Marshals located him in Kentucky, and he was extradited back to Bexar County. A 25-year plea agreement was under consideration, but now the case is being prepped for trial. Plus, this weekend, friends and family are keeping Ram Ayala's memory alive 20 years after the tragedy was shot and killed inside his own bar, along with another employee. Our Erica Hernandez shows us how the music and the memories are still living on.
It was once a scrappy dive bar turned underground music hub on Grayson Street, a place where punk, rock, and everyone in between had a place to express themselves. But in June 2005, as the city was celebrating a Spurs championship, the music at Taco Land came to a screeching halt. Owner Ramiro Ayala, also known as Ram, and doorman Doug Morgan were shot and killed. Now, 20 years later, Ram's name still echoes through San Antonio's music scene.
It's a celebration for our fallen brothers Ram Ayala and Doug Morgan. Ram spawned a lot of bands, and out of a lot of bands became, record label owners, club owners. Some of them went out and, became lawyers.
Roland Fuentes used to be a promoter at Taco Land. Now he's helping organize the 20th anniversary Ram Jam, a 2-day festival featuring more than 20 bands, some of which were Ayala's favorites.
It's been 20 years, and a lot of these bands, want to come back and show what they've done, and it's pretty cool.
Though the original venue has long since closed, Taco Land's influence still looms large. The anniversary, more than just a tragic loss, it's celebrating a movement that brought people together.
When I find myself driving by, it hits home, makes me sad. I'll go out there sometimes and just hang out underneath the tree and just, hang out with my friends, and remember.
The Ram Jam Festival will take place this Saturday and Sunday at the Corn Pound in Windcrest. Longtime fans and new faces alike, united by music and the memory of the man who helped build a scene that endures. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Time right now, 9:37 in San Antonio, 79 degrees outside. Well, the Supreme Court just made a big decision on health care. How it protects millions' access to free preventative services is coming up next.
And we are seeing puffy cumulus clouds out there. Only a very small chance for rain this weekend. The big story next week, Saharan dust and what will happen in the Gulf. I've got a look ahead coming up.
Welcome back. Well, a tax that scared Wall Street is being dropped from President Trump's budget bill. The Treasury and Congress scrapped the revenge tax on foreign investments. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced a deal with G7 nations to exclude U.S. companies from some global taxes. In return, the U.S. dropped the Section 899 tax code, which would have raised taxes on income from U.S. assets held abroad. Well, the Supreme Court has rejected a challenge on the Affordable Care Act that requires insurers to cover no-cost preventative health care recommended by a special panel. Now, while the appeal didn't threaten to overturn the Affordable Care Act, it could have affected millions' access to free preventative care. Cost-free preventative services encourage people to get early screenings and detect diseases sooner. The court also ruled that panel members don't need to be appointed by the president, confirming that both HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his Biden administration predecessor had the authority to pick their experts. Plus, with the cost of everything going up and the tariff wars, families are turning to secondhand stores to get some of their goods. Patty Santos introduces us to a couple in Universal City who's turning their thrift store into more, a resource for families who are struggling in the economy.
Nathan and Melissa Weir, and the business is the Thrifty Hippie Community Thrift Store.
The couple says an average of 150 people visit their chic vibes daily.
All our clothes are $350, and we have it designed kind of like a little boutique, but it's donations. It's like it's a happy vibe. It's a boutique-y vibe. We just like people to come in and it be nice for them. Just because it's a thrift store, it doesn't have to be not appealing.
Melissa and Nathan opened the nonprofit store in Universal City a year and a half ago.
So you guys saw that there was a need. What was that need?
Oh, just so many people that couldn't afford to shop at regular stores and even some thrift stores, and so we wanted this to be a place that anybody could afford to shop.
You did some research on exactly where to put them.
I did a little research on the internet just on average income in kind of the area around where we lived, and in the Schertz, Universal City, Cibolo. This is kind of one of the lower income areas.
It's become more than just a thrift store. It's a community gathering for art, prayer, and a resource center.
This is our little food pantry we have for people when they come in, and anybody's welcome to this, any seniors or any families. It's peanut butter. We have a lot of peanut butter and pasta and noodles. A little basket out front for when we're not here for families and for the homeless.
The couple puts in a lot of their own savings into the store. All funds go to support food pantries at area churches and other nonprofits.
I think we both believe that we live in a world of plenty. There's so many resources in this world, and there's no excuse for people not to have basic needs.
The costs are kept low. Most items are under $6, but don't take advantage of their kind hearts.
You know the price of these things, right?
Oh, absolutely. We do have some limits on how much of each item that we'll sell, because we want our clothes to be used by people who need them at $350, not necessarily purchased and sold for $100 online, because then all the work that we do to get that item doesn't go towards our mission. It goes to make somebody a bunch of money.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Well, if you and your family are planning to barbecue for the 4th of July, listen up. This one's for you. According to Wells Fargo, a 4th of July barbecue for 10 people with all those traditional fixins is going to cost roughly $130 this year. That's up 2.2% from last year. But many Americans may not notice anything too unusual. It's a relatively normal price increase following 5 years of pandemic-fueled inflation. Tariffs don't appear to have impacted them yet because most of those menu items are produced domestically. And the city's gearing up for the big Independence Day celebration. Here's our Ivan Herrera with everything you need to know if you're planning to go out to Woodlawn Lake Park.
Carnival rides, live music, wrestling, an onion eating contest, and fireworks. It's all happening at the HEB 4th of July celebration at Woodlawn Park, hosted by the San Antonio Parks Foundation. The full day of activities starts at 8 a.m. and runs through 9:30 p.m. The celebration kicks off with fitness sessions, then you can cool down watching wrestling demonstrations midday into the afternoon, a welcome salute at 7 p.m., and a big fireworks show starting at 9 p.m., which will also include a drone show. Now, if you're heading out to the HEB 4th of July celebration at Woodlawn Park, here's what you need to know. No overnight camping is allowed at the park. No alcohol is allowed. Follow detours and other road signs, and of course, keep the neighborhood clean by picking up your trash. Don't forget to bring your lawn chairs, sunscreen, umbrellas, hats, and of course, stay hydrated. There's lots more going on during the celebration. Head to KSAT.com for a full list. Ivan Herrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Ivan. I've got to look at your 4th of July forecast coming up here in a bit.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's mainly going to be warm, but there's a small potential for rain. So we'll talk about that in just a bit.
Awesome.
But first, I want to get you through your weekend. Outside right now, it is warm. We're already starting off at 80 degrees, 82 in New Braunfels. Good morning, Kerrville. It's 79, 82 in Del Rio, 79 in Eagle Pass, 80 in Uvalde, and 84 down in Freer. Now, today we're going to quickly see the sun really shine. In fact, all we're going to be seeing in the afternoon is mostly sunny skies. It'll be 94 for the high, but because it's so humid, that 94 is going to feel more like 101. And even by 9 p.m., we're still going to be near 90 degrees after sunset. So it's going to be a humid and warm day. There is an off chance, 10%, that some showers and storms that develop near the coast will make it to that I-35 corridor. Today, only a 10% chance, but tomorrow, there's a slightly higher chance for that to happen. So watch what happens tomorrow. We see that 20% chance around San Antonio for a few showers and storms. Areas like Gonzales, Hallettsville, Cuero, Beeville, likely going to see some storminess tomorrow. And I have to mention that even if you do get a shower or storm in San Antonio, nothing will be severe. We're not going to be dealing with any flooding. But if you do get one of those downpours, it will rain hard because a lot of this rain is going to be moving in from the coast, and there's a lot of moisture out there. So keep that in mind. We'll keep you posted. Just a small 20% chance tomorrow. Notice, though, that next week, Wednesday and Thursday, there's a higher chance for some showers and storms. This is because of what's going on in the Gulf right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the tropical satellite. You can see here on the Yucatan Peninsula, there's an area of disturbed low pressure. This has about a 50% chance of developing into a tropical depression or even strengthening into a tropical storm. If it gets to tropical storm status, it would get the name of Barry. That's the next name that's on the list there. But regardless of whether or not Barry forms in the Gulf, we do not anticipate direct impacts to the Texas coast, so there's no need to worry there. The one thing, however, that we could see is some saturated air thrown our way with a little bit more moisture, and that's why by Wednesday and Thursday, as that saturated air settles overhead, we'll have a slightly higher chance, 30% for some showers and storms. But what about the 4th, Friday? Well, I do think that we'll have a small chance for rain, about a 20% chance, a lot like tomorrow, but temperatures will be warm otherwise, mid-90s. So it is going to be a warm one. And like I mentioned, with the sunset, most of that rain chance will go away. And again, we'll be in the 90s for firework displays. So it is going to be a warm one. Then the next thing to talk about before the 4th is the fact that we're going to have some Saharan dust in the air. As I've mentioned earlier in this show, I really do not anticipate a major impact to air quality. However, there will be a light to moderate plume, making for some haze on the horizon, and we'll definitely notice that tomorrow through Wednesday. Otherwise, highs in the low 90s for us. It could be worse. We could be in the triple digits, even though it'll feel like that today with the humidity. Still could be a lot worse out there, Devin.
Hey, well, we'll take what we can, right?
Yep.
Okay, would rain actually get in the way of fireworks going off, or would that probably cancel? I don't know.
It's a little too far right now. Friday, there's a 20% chance.
Okay.
Most of the time, they will cancel things if there's thunder and lightning.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
Again, I don't. That is an off chance for that to happen right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sarah. We're going to keep an eye on it for the rest of the week here on GMSA and the other shows on KSAT. All right, time right now, 9:50. Still 79 degrees outside in San Antonio. Taking a look at our roadways right now. Conditions looking all right. We have got a packed trip outside. We're going to be keeping you updated on everything that's going on outside here for this morning on GMSA. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Coming back up here on KSAT, there is a lot of great Tex-Mex food you can get in San Antonio, and why stop with just one restaurant? David Elter's about to introduce us to a place that does it all, coming up with a preview of Texas Eats.
You guys brought out all the hits off the menu right here in front of us, man. I want to start here in the front. You have 2 loaded plates. What do you have going on with this one?
This is our Maria Bonita special right here. We've got 2 enchiladas, your choice. You can choose fajitas, chicken fajitas, or carne asada. But these are one of our signature dishes.
And now in the middle, this is a great way to start your meal. What do you have going on here?
So that is our chicharron ribeye, and you've got guacamole underneath it, but then we get fried ribeye that's prime ribeye.
And if you're looking for seafood, I see a shrimp plate right here. That looks delicious.
Oh yeah, that's the cilantro lemon shrimp, and we've got some spinach right there, some white rice with some corn in it, and perfectly cooked shrimp.
Welcome back. Before you go, the City of San Antonio Metro Health District is hosting a baby shower and fatherhood celebration today, happening from 1 to 3 o'clock at the Woodlawn Lake Park. The family-friendly event is held during Men's Health Awareness Month. It's celebrating expecting moms and dads while promoting healthy pregnancies and strong parent-child bonds. Attendees can show up for free and get produce bags, community health screenings, fun outdoor games, and educational prizes, plus some resources for expecting families. All right, folks, grab your cowboy boots and your hats because country music is coming back to the Rocket La Cantera. Spur Sports and Entertainment has already kicked off its free Taste of Summer concert series, but don't worry, there's still plenty of time to see some of the other headliners. You can scan the QR code coming up on your screen right there, bottom left, to read all about it. The next concert is today. They're going to have, following that, there's going to be JoJo DiSavallo taking the stage. Following that, the Band of Heathens is going to perform on July 5th. Lastly, singer Bart Crow will wrap up the series on the 18th. Local artists will also join in on the fun. General admission is free, but there are VIP options available. And Sarah, if you want to go outdoors today, what's it looking like?
Hot, Devin. Yeah. It's going to be hot. 94 today for the high, but that'll feel more like 101. Tomorrow, 93, small chance for a stray shower. And then notice that rain chances pick up Wednesday and Thursday before the 4th of July. Saharan dust moves in tomorrow and sticks around through Wednesday. And if you missed it, I did an explanation about the Saharan dust and the potential impacts from that. I posted that on our Instagram. You can go ahead and check that out. Go a little bit more in depth when I have a little bit more time about the Saharan dust. Fun fact, too, about the Saharan dust is that it actually acts as like a natural fertilizer for a lot of agriculture in Mexico, that kind of thing. So it has a point. It's not just a cool thing that happens every year, but nutrients from the dust get into areas in agricultural areas in Mexico.
Awesome.
There.
Well, I'll hope it carries over here. I'm a big plant guy, so I'm just going to try to leave them on my balcony and just keep the fingers crossed, right? Get them to grow how I can.
Might be doing good with a little bit of miracle grow there instead of waiting for the dust to kick in.
That might help a little bit. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us here on GMSA this morning. We've got Texas Eats coming up next, and we're going to have more news later on tonight.
Happy weekend.